Hey guys, Jason here. There's a story that you were never told, and it's actually older than any religion, and it's older than any civilization, and it begins not with arrival, but actually with a departure. Because the ancient texts of India, the gods didn't just show up. They leave. They ascend in flying ships. They vanish into light, and they promise to return at the end of age. And then they're gone. The Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Puranas, they all describe scenes directly and very, very clearly of divine beings departing Earth through the sky. And yet somehow no one talks about it. So today I think we're going to go talk about it, okay? Because the question isn't, did the gods come here? The question is, why did they leave? And why does every culture say that they're coming back? So let's start with the Mahabharata. After the Great War is over, the eldest Pandava leads his brothers away from the ruins of their kingdom. They climb the Himalayas, seeking the gateway to heaven. And before they leave, Krishna dies. And the text says he was struck by a hunter's arrow. But his death is strangely symbolic because the moment Krishna dies, the Kali Yuga begins. The last avatar of Vishnu departs, and time itself actually changes frequency. But Krishna doesn't just disappear. A shining ship came from the heavens, and the Lord ascended into light, leaving his mortal form behind. You probably weren't told that part in Sunday school at all. So now we rewind to Rama, another avatar of Vishnu. When his work was done, he didn't die like in the usual sense. So he walks into a river surrounded by sages and celestials. And then the text says this: a Vimana descended from the sky, radiant with golden fire. Rama entered the ship with his companions, and it vanished into the heavens. So he doesn't ascend alone. He brings an actual crew. So this pattern, it's not just Indian. The Sumerians say the Anunnaki left in flying ships, promising to return when the stars realign, whatever that means. The Hopi talk of sky, kachinas, and they left on flying shields and would return in the fifth world. The Maya recorded dates of return on their long calendar, which most are familiar with. And then there's Jesus, right? In Acts 1:9 it says this: he was taken up before their eyes, and a cloud received him from their sight. Right? I don't think it's poetry at all. That's an actual departure log. So what actually happened here, and why did they all leave? And more importantly, where did they actually go? Let's talk about vehicles. The Sanskrit word is vimana, and it appears in dozens and dozens and dozens of texts, and it doesn't mean chariot. It doesn't mean metaphor. It actually means flying machine, literally. In the Ramayana, you have the Vimana itself described as, well, here, I'll just read it. Resplendent like the sun, moving at the speed of thought, silent in flight, and able to accommodate any number of passengers at will. So, this is not a horse cart. That's not poetic exaggeration. That's ancient aerospace engineering, written right into the verse. So here's the part that should really rattle you. So a Vimana was self-operating. It had intelligence, adjusted shape and size, and responded to mental command. Does that sound familiar at all? Right? AI-enhanced craft, telepathic, interface, shape-shifting architecture? Basically, your Tesla got reincarnated into a cloud-based UFO just a few yugas ago. So here's where it actually gets a bit spooky. So in the Vimanaka Shastra, an ancient Sanskrit text, it was discovered in the 20th century, and it details the actual flight manuals. It breaks Vimanas into classes, describes fuel sources, it mentions gyroscopic balancing systems, anti-gravity force fields, and even mercury propulsion chambers. Western scholars, they have all called it a forgery, which is absolutely adorable because we still can't build half the stuff described in it with our current tech. But let's move on, right? There's a deeper pattern here that's hidden in the text. The gods didn't fly away. They staged their exits. So let's revisit Krishna first, okay? Before he departs Earth, he instructs Arjuna to bury his bow the Gandhava, and tells the Pandavas to walk away from power. And when he dies, the city of Dwarka sinks into the sea. And it's not from war at all. And it's not from a natural disaster, because the purpose was complete. The city returned to the ocean from which it came. And that's not tragedy. It's an actual protocol, a planned withdrawal, and a mission wrap. So the actual coordinates, they still show signs. Dwarka's submerged ruins have been found, and they're off the Gujarat coast, with straight roads, right angles, pillars, anchors, and harbors beneath layers and layers of coral. Sonar scans, they show evidence of a man-made structure built before 9,000 BC. And what do the locals say? Oh yeah, that's where Krishna's city used to be, before he flew away. Yeah, so cool, nothing to see here, right? I mean, even Rama's departure is structured. He walks into the river, but isn't alone at all. The sky opens, and a Vamana descends, and it's described as, containing celestial musicians, sages, and even glowing beings. The ship shines what was described as like 1,000 suns, and it emits a tone no one can actually describe, and then it vanishes. It just disappears. So here's the weird part. Rama departs from Ayodhya, which literally means the city that cannot be conquered. And where does Krishna leave from? Dwarka, the gateway. 2 gods, 2 gateways, 2 cities, gone. And then what do both avatars have in common? They say they'll return, but only when Dharma collapses completely. So does that sound familiar? The 10th avatar, Kalki. He's prophesied to arrive at the end of Kali Yuga. Not born, but descended. And not emerging, but arriving. Riding a white horse. Carrying a blazing sword, or maybe piloting something that just looks like a white horse to a civilization too young to recognize advanced tech without a saddle on it. So look, guys, I'm not saying a guy in a glowing chariot is going to park on your lawn and tell you to fix your karma, but if he does, maybe listen. So what if they actually never left at all? What if all these ancient texts, the flights, the ascensions, the vanishing cities, they weren't just a historical memory, but an actual spiritual architecture? So what if the gods didn't depart to some distant star, but they went offline, dormant, encrypted, waiting not to return from the sky, but to awaken through the actual soul? Because here's what the Gita actually teaches us. Krishna says this to Arjuna: I dwell in the heart of all beings, Arjuna. From me comes memory, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So he's not hiding. He's installed, running in the background of your consciousness. You want to return to the gods? Well, then just look inward. The gods didn't leave. They turned into awareness and buried themselves inside every living being as a seed. The return of the gods is the moment you remember you were never just a human. You were the hosting field for the divine presence itself. And your body? It's not just a vehicle for biology. It's a grounded Vamana, temporarily parked on Earth. You're not waiting for the mothership at all. You're actually piloting one with amnesia. Your spine is the antenna. Your breath is the actual fuel system, and your mantra is the ignition sequence. You don't need to be taken. You need to be activated. Because the gods, they didn't return with fanfare. They returned through actual recognition. One moment of stillness, one inner breath, one drop of awareness falling back into the ocean of what it is. They were never the sky. They were just in hiding. Inside of you. Okay, so let's review. Every culture speaks of sky beings who left. Indian texts are filled with clear departures. Rama, Krishna, Indra, the rishis, even Hanuman. Light, ascension, it all keeps going, but all of them leave with a promise. I will return. And we spent thousands and thousands of years looking up and waiting. But what if that was the final layer of the illusion? What if the gods don't return to us, but through us? Not by landing, but by waking up inside of the very beings who've been asleep at the wheel of their own awareness. The sky is not above you, it's inside your mind. The gods didn't vanish, you just stopped looking in the right direction. And when enough people stop praying upward and actually start listening inward, Yeah, that's when the golden ships return. And not from space, but from silence. And they're already here. And you're sitting in one. Namaste.